of their influencers at the time, Trayvon Diggs.
Oh, wow.
I was able to film with Trayvon and like Mercedes and the dealership. Easier now to make a social video that's going to go viral than what it was back in like 2020. One of our most viewed videos on my Instagram account is like a 7-second clip.
Crazy.
It's at like 1.7 million views. I think I had a couple thousand followers on Jrowfilms, and now it's at like 87, 88 or something.
Jeez.
You are not wanting to serve like in your church and use your gifts to God's glory, then you should like reflect on yourself a little bit, recognize your sin,
Wow.
repent of it, how you act and how you treat others. Make sure it's a reflection of Christ's love.
Welcome to the Faith Hustle podcast, where we help young Christians learn how to build their business and careers God's way. My name is Maquenda. I'm your host. I've been an entrepreneur for almost 10 years, and I've had the joy and privilege to be able to be mentored by incredible entrepreneurs and business owners that were not only incredible in business, but also were devoted to Christ, devoted to their families, and had a holistic view of success. And that's the goal of the show, is to show you another way, to show you the way that leads to life, that God's way of success. And so each week we bring on different people to speak on that. And we teach on 5 pillars. We teach on being spirit-led, having integrity, having a heart of stewardship, humility, and generosity. So if those are things that resonate with you, if something that you're trying to grow in with us as well, I encourage you, subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to all the audio platforms, whatever you listen to. Tap in with us, because we're on this journey to grow together. And on today's episode, I have my good friend Justin Romeyn. I got it.
That's right. You got it right.
I got the last name. He taught me a little trick of his saying his last name. It was a boat. Say it again.
A boat would you row mine?
Would you row my boat?
Don't row your boat. Row my boat.
Row my boat. Justin Romeyn. I love it. Yep. I love it. Well, dude, thank you for coming on, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
It's a real joy. I wanted to kind of start off how we met. I think I just hit you up on Instagram, but I've been following you for like years.
See, I have no idea how long you've been following me.
I was stalking you for a while.
Hey, I mean, there's probably a lot of people that do that, you know?
Real. No, but I was a huge fan of yours from afar. He is a phenomenal videographer, cinematographer, and is very active on social media, specifically Instagram, and posts a lot of behind the scenes of his shoots. And so I was always a big fan of just your work, your style, and just the quality. And I would steal a lot of ideas over the years.
Yeah. Inspiration. That's the goal.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And basically, before I moved to Texas, I hit you up. I was like, hey, like, I'm looking for production partners and would love to, work with you. And so we've done a few projects together and been
met up for coffee.
Yeah.
Not drinking coffee right now, sadly.
We got our
some
wax
water.
space water.
Yeah.
Shout outs. No, but we just had a great time and get, I've gotten to meet your wife, work with your wife and the whole team, and you got some really talented folks over there. And yeah, man, I'm excited. To have you on, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Well, I want to jump right into it. One, I want to get your story, because it really is fascinating how, and we were even talking a little bit like where you started, like even camera wise. And for those who are not into production, like, stay with us. We're just not going to talk about gear or like camera stuff the whole time. But you started with like the Rebel Canon. That's where we all start. I was a Canon 60D guy, and then jumped over to Sony. I literally jumped over to Sony as well, and then jumped into kind of the cinema cameras. But dude, I'd love to get your story, man, of just like how you started, how you got into this. You have an award-winning production company now, but before all that, like, what was the start?
Yeah, the start was going to school at Texas State University and graduating with a health and fitness management degree.
Wow.
Which is completely not what I'm doing now.
I was like, oh no, that's completely opposite.
Completely opposite. I did not go to school for this. So if that's inspiration for anybody who's looking to get into this, you don't there's some fields you go into where you need a degree for sure. And then there's other fields like for creative fields where you don't need to. The proof is in the pudding.
Right.
And if you perfect your craft and learn a craft, you can sell it to other people for money.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
and that's what that was built on. But yeah, my job out of college was at Anytime Fitness.
Okay.
And I was a general manager for 1 club and then 2 clubs and then 3 clubs.
Okay.
So I was kind of a regional guy.
Yeah.
And I was responsible for all the marketing for the clubs.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yep. So, well, in that, have you been to an Anytime Fitness Club?
I have been at Anytime, yeah.
So if you're a general manager of a club at Anytime Fitness, you are everything. You are the new salesperson. You are the janitor. You are the collections. You are retention department. Like you're everything for that gym. So by default, I was in charge of marketing, right? Like, all right, we need more members. So what are we going to do? Well,
Gotcha.
put out video content. That's the #1 way to do it. And then I got the Canon Rebel T5i like we talked about and just looked at my videos and I'm like, man, these look like trash. Like I need to get better.
Yeah.
So went to YouTube University and
YouTube. I am a doctorate in YouTube University for
it's
sure.
Everything is on there.
Oh my God, anything.
Everything.
I did not realize that that's how you started just because for the sake of a job.
For my other job. Yeah.
So was there any? So you had no, which is funny because my story is very similar. Like I didn't get into. The reason why I got into content and video was because I was working a part-time job, and they were like, just run our social media, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I had to learn, and then doing stuff for church. They're like, hey, can you run our social media account? And I'm just saying yes, and I was like, I probably need to get a camera and get learn this
and learn about social. Yeah.
But that's fascinating. So you didn't have any of that growing up at all? Like never touched a camera or anything?
I mean, my mom was a professional photographer, but she never... I had heard her talk about camera terms like ISO and aperture, but I had no idea what that meant. And like I had really no interest from the photo side of things, which is interesting. I mean, growing up, I would film myself like swinging a golf club in the backyard to like get my swing right on a camcorder, but that's about it. Like I never had an inclination to like, oh, I want to start a video production company one day. Yeah. It was never a thought.
You start at Anytime, you're just learning, and what kind of did that kind of spark the joy of it or the love of it? Or
gotcha, 100% the love, because like I'm looking at my videos, I'm like, man, my videos look horrible. How can I make them better? And then I get plugged into Premiere Pro and all that, and I start learning, and I'm like, my videos start to look better. Yeah. Because I've always been a creative. Like growing up, I made my own comic book series in school and like distributed it, sold it. And 2nd grade, I drew anything people wanted me to for money. And then my mom found out about it and I had to give all that money back. Yeah. So
that was a business.
That was a business. But she's like, you're in 2nd grade. You can't be doing this.
Hey, the hustle, man. Hey, it's that's your
faith hustling from the beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Okay, so there was always a creative
entrepreneur spirit, like young. Yeah, absolutely. But video, I had no idea.
Gotcha. Okay, so you find your love in it. What made you, or what was the transition for it being like, I'm going to start? Did you start freelancing and then you went full time, or what was that kind of journey?
It was definitely freelancing, except I really didn't even know what the term freelancing was at the time. I was just like, I found an avenue that I loved. I became passionate about filmmaking, and I knew I wanted to do more work in that field. So I actually started applying at different jobs around the DFW area, and I was upfront with my employer. Luckily, my employer was like super awesome, and he was kind of a mentor as well, Hayes Carter, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to support you in whatever you want to do. And so he allowed me to go part-time once I got I got my first like retainer client, which allowed me to go part-time. And so I'd be working part-time at the gym, part-time filming golf videos.
That's super cool of him to let you do that, of like, because most people, most bosses are like, no, I want every bit of hours I can get out of you. And
especially in my like position, because I was over all the GMs of the 3 Anytime Fitness clubs. So he was kind of like, taking me away from that.
Wow.
Or like he was allowing me to step away from that a little bit.
Which feels like a God thing. Of
Oh
like
yeah.
And I you know, I have found in my life, in my own life, of people that I've interacted with, there's always one person that like either gives you that break or is the reason for like whether is they're teaching you or they're giving you the space to be able to like spread your wings. Like there's always that one, and I've always been like the thing I always think about like, can I be that for somebody else, or like are there moments am I doing that for some? But there's always someone that is doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, the big one too is after Jamie and I got married in 2017, that she had a full-time job as a nurse. So having that full-time job allowed me to be able to eventually quit my part-time job at the gym.
Gotcha.
Right? So to be able to pursue more freelance clients, which we did start off like almost 100% like weddings.
Yeah. Which most filmmakers kind of get their start in. Yeah. I did as well. Yeah.
Because I mean, you do one wedding, it's going to lead to probably 3 or 4 more weddings from that one wedding video.
Yeah.
Just from like bridesmaids that see it.
Yeah,
and
they're
all that.
sharing it, and it's very like close knit, and so people want to hire like who did yours, and
it's got to be referral based.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so you started there. You were doing freelancing while your wife was as a nurse.
Yeah.
And so like, when was it like, all right, this is a business, I'm going all in? What was kind of that, I guess, moment for you, or if you had to even find a moment? Or,
I mean, because I filed for the LLC in like 2018, I believe, beginning of 2018. So that's when the company was like started.
Yeah.
So I was just operating as myself under the company.
Right.
But then as I started taking on more clients and doing more work, I eventually got so busy that it was end of 2019, kind of like beginning of 2020, right when COVID hit, that we were getting so busy that I was like, I need to like put out for an internship because I need some help.
Wow.
And there was a little side of me in the back on the, what do you call that? There was a little part of me that wanted to build something bigger than just myself.
Yeah.
I didn't want to just be, Justin Romeyn, the freezer.
Right.
I wanted to build a company that could also inspire other creatives and give them employment opportunities and, grow as a team. And so I was like, let me put out an ad for an internship. And so I started putting feelers out there and ended up hiring 2 interns that were part-time middle of COVID.
Wow.
Yeah. Which was kind of a good time if you think about it to put out an internship.
True, because everyone's just sitting around.
Yeah,
just
nobody's
doing
like, people are going on like hiring halts, like nothing is happening. So yeah.
That's awesome.
It was a good time to bring them on.
Yeah, and because I think when we met, which I think was around, I think it was 2022 that we met. I know you were running an internship at the time. You had just maybe hired a guy or 2, and it's cool. And obviously there are certain. I feel like there's different types of people who get into business. Some people get into business because they don't want a boss. They want to do things their way, and what they end up doing is creating another job for themselves, which that's fine if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
But then there's other people like yourself that see a vision for pouring into other people, building other people, and they see the significance of that, of like, I can do more with that, with building a team than what I could ever do on my own. But not everybody's made for it.
Yeah.
But like, I guess, how did you know you were made for it? Was it just...
I don't know. Is that a good answer?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess like I've always loved like mentoring other people, but then you also have to have knowledge to be able to mentor somebody, right? You have to be poured into to pour into other people.
Right.
And so I even started my YouTube channel, and I'm like almost the same concept as Course Creator?
Yeah.
You have a subscription?
Yeah.
Well, so Parker Wallbeck, who started it, he had a really good comment about, you don't have to be a complete expert in that specific field. You just have to know more than the person that you're teaching. Yeah. And I knew that there was so many other people that know less than what I know. And I was constantly like pouring into myself to learn and grow and perfect my craft, that I knew I was starting to exceed what like somebody who's just graduating college is like learning, which is funny because like some of my interns have told me, most of them actually, they're like, I learned more in your internship than I did in my 4-year college degree.
It's crazy.
I'm like, because they don't teach you, they teach you like book stuff. They don't teach you like real application.
Right.
Like in the real world.
Right.
So,
how to solve a problem, or how to work with talent or a client. It's
that's not talked about.
No, it's not. I've seen the same thing of literally people coming out of school. There's marketing graduates that me and my old business partner, we used to run into all the time, and they would ask us like, can you mentor us? And we never went to school. It was like, and like, they're like, they didn't teach us how to run Facebook ads. They didn't teach us how to do any of this stuff. And it makes you think like, what are you paying for? What are you paying for? But the reason why I'm asking you about the team, and I want to get into your faith journey as well here, but you have a unique, because I've gotten the chance to work with you directly. You have an incredibly talented team, to the point where I think most people would be almost intimidated by, at least that's from my perspective of like, you got so many like solid people that in their own right probably could do their own thing. And it takes incredible amount of humility and to do that. And I've just always been impressed by you. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, to speak into that. I guess, and I don't know, maybe we can kind of step into more of the faith side of things, of what kind of, I don't know, in your relationship with the Lord, do you see a correlation of that, of how you've been able to lead? Because like I said, it's always been impressive to me. If anything, like some of these podcasts, I'm like, it's kind of more for me, because I get to like ask you questions that I want to learn, and for myself it was kind of selfish, I guess. But I don't know. Do you find a correlation in that, or something that God's taught you or shown you that, I don't know, has allowed you to be that type of leader?
Yeah, what's funny is through my church, like we've taken our spiritual gifts. There's like the
assessment, or
where you can learn like your spiritual gifts, and I always have to retake it, because I learn them, I like think about them for like a month, and then I forget what they are. It's like a constant thing that you have to be reflecting on yourself, because you're not just born with these spiritual gifts and then they're going to be with you your whole life. They're going to evolve and change and grow and move. So, I mean, the way my wife and I have like looked at it is like, let's not our will, but the Lord's will be done. So if we're going to pursue this and like start a video company, the Lord is either going to bless it, or he's not going to bless our efforts in that. And if he doesn't bless our efforts in that, then that tells us we're not going his direction. Right? Yeah. So we're trying to follow his will. Yeah. What's the verse? It's the Lord will establish your steps. Yeah. It's like a psalm. Yeah. We'll plan out our ways, but the Lord will establish our steps. Right. Yeah. So in our mind, it was like, what do we have to lose to do this? And obviously, I feel like we're going the right direction because the Lord is blessing our efforts in everything that we're doing. Yeah. And I'm seeing the impact that it's having on those around us, like with our internships and even our client relationships. Yeah. And the work that we're able to do and the people that we're able to reach, like it's really cool. So I definitely feel like we were guided that direction. And the fact that it's working out so well tells me like we're doing something right. Right, exactly. Yeah.
My dad used to coin this phrase. He used to say, "Follow the favor," and like that. It's simpler than we think of what God's putting his favor on and what he's not. What his hands on, I should say. And I think there's many times we like want to pursue something, but like God's not really in it. It's just like a good idea. But like when there's like a natural, like you could tell, okay, it's working. You clearly have either a gift for it, or there's a not easy but an ease to it. that's like, oh, like, yeah, follow that path. But you know, a lot of times I'm guilty of it. I've tried to pursue stuff that I wanted to do. I thought were good ideas, and it was like, nope, he's not in it.
Yeah.
But having that posture of like, no, it's not what I want. It's what you want.
Yeah. Because I mean, you can, and how many times does this happen if like you're just like trying to push and fight the Lord's will?
Yeah.
Like if you're trying to do that and you're just like, no, I want it this way, it's like you're almost like hardening your heart to his will instead of just like, and it's not a verse, but letting go and letting God.
Yeah.
Right. But like, pray that your will be done in everything that we do.
Right.
So, and if it's not always like a clear cut answer of like, yeah, this is the direction I need to go. But luckily with us, you know, he has blessed us in our efforts. So I feel like it's the right direction. Yeah. Then there's other situations where if we're trying to pursue this client, we keep running in the roadblocks. It's just the Lord's answer is maybe not yet. You know, it's not just, no, this is never going to happen. Right. You're not meant to have this client. Right. You know, it's just maybe not quite yet, but keep nurturing, keep planting seeds. Yeah. You know,
do you have an example of that? Because you've, again, you said you started a business about 2018, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
the LLC.
The LLC, right? But freelancing before, I did the same thing. Like by the time I actually incorporated, I think I was technically already 2 years in or something like that. Yeah. But in that time span, it is wild. Like if you look at the list of people you worked with, whether it's Volvo or, you know, all this different, obviously some of it with dealerships and whatnot, but like worked with some incredible clients. I'd love an example of that, of not just how you got them, but how you kind of followed the Lord through that, of, you know, whether some were like immediate or it was like, no, like we had to work it or we had to just trust God in it, or if anything comes to mind.
I would say with one of our clients, kind of a big name dealership in the DFW area, I reached out to them on Instagram. And most companies, when you reach out to a company on Instagram, it goes to a social media person or somebody who is working part-time that just checks their stuff and kind of falls between the cracks. But luckily it got in front of like the right person that directed me to the other right person. Right. And what we did is we were looking to produce a video for our YouTube, actually. So it wasn't even made to like, oh, we need to pursue this client, right? Yeah. It was offering them a free video in return for being able to like film a behind the scenes, fully, so we could post it on YouTube. Because we at that point we had not done any car stuff, and so we were like, I want to get in, I want to film like a Mercedes commercial. So let's do that. Well, what ended up happening is they were like, yeah, like we love your stuff on Instagram. So like it's not like they found me through Instagram, but they saw the Instagram and the content we were putting out, and they were like, we love that style, we would love to, you know, take you up on the offer. Right. And so we ended up being able to connect with them on a project that was with one of their influencers at the time, Trayvon Diggs. Oh, wow. Yeah. So I was able to film with Trayvon and like Mercedes and the dealership. Jeez. Yeah. All for for a free video.
Yeah, you hit all in one. That's crazy.
And it was the first car video we had ever done. And so this was like, what do we have to lose? Like one, we have nothing to showcase for cars, right? So we need to get our foot in the door and show what we can do. But on top of that, it was like, well, we need to make some YouTube content, because I was trying to like put out a lot of like hit YouTube hard. Right. And so, yeah, we ended up producing the video. They absolutely loved it. They're like, hey, what is y'all's rates to like do more of these? And so that's how that relationship started. And yeah, we still work with them to this day. And that was back March of 2020.
March of 2020.
March of 2020. COVID happened like a week later. It was wild.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Like even the fact of, again, I believe fundamentally, especially, you know, even how, as we've been talking about this, of like, you talking about the heart posture of like, not my will, your will. if you have that heart posture, God will put you in scenarios and he will always take care of his people, right? He establishes our steps. The fact that God had you of like, I got you. Like, you don't even know what's coming, but I'm going to take care of you is crazy.
Yeah.
That is.
It was, yeah.
And you guys are still working with them, right?
Still working with them.
Yeah. And you guys do produce some incredible work with them. Like, it is just like top notch. Like, and I'm a stickler for quality, and it's just so good.
It's like, I mean, we're trying to basically like reimagine what like car dealership videos even look like. It's not like that's like our niche. Like we haven't niched down that much, but like I can't think of any other car dealership videos or ads or anything that dealerships are putting out that look like the stuff that we do with our clients.
No, it's very unique. And I think, and that's one thing I actually want to kind of get into is it was one of my questions of you have, and I think this is more so specifically for creative people, because this is not necessarily, everybody, but creative people, it's hard for them to do the actual creation and their own marketing and promotional stuff.
Yeah, the
their
business
own social
side
media
too.
stuff. It's really hard. Like, I have to hire people to do my own social media, because if I don't, it's not going to happen, you know? Because you get so consumed with client day-to-day stuff, getting deadlines met, all that different stuff, and you don't have enough time. But, like, you've somehow found enough time to make really quality work and to put out quality content, which in so many ways, that's a lot of the reasons why clients hire you. Like, how do you... What started that, and how did you find that?
Well, I will say, since Instagram has changed their algorithm so much over the last 3 years, it has gotten a little bit easier. And I say easier only because, like with IG Reels, like there's a formula to putting out an IG Reel that's going to go viral, right? Or at least like reach a lot of people. Whereas before, and that formula, is simpler than what it was before. Right. Because before, I would have to do this whole like edit of behind the scenes on top and the final product below, cut for cut, shot for shot. I'd have to spend all this time putting together this one like video and then finally post it and hope that it like hits the algorithm and goes viral or like gets a lot of views, right? Whereas now, you're making a 15-second video, and half of that is a behind-the-scenes clip you shot on your cell phone. It takes no time at all. So, like, it's easier now to make, like, a social video that's going to go viral than what it was back in, like, 2020, in my opinion. I've seen the results of that. Like, actually, one of our most viewed videos on my Instagram account is, like, a 7-second clip of me filming a Porsche 911 coming down a ramp and, like, whipping around. It's not, you don't even see the final shot. Like, it's wild. Just me, like, filming the car.
Oh, you don't even see the final shot?
You don't even see the final shot.
That is crazy.
It's at, like, 1.7 million views.
Jeez.
It makes no sense.
It is, and I think that is encouraging and challenging for people, because, a lot of people just have a lot of excuses, right? Of like, oh, well, like, it's not what it used to be, or like, like, obviously, like, any type of social media engagement, like whether it's Facebook or Instagram, it has changed a ton. But we can just use that excuses of just not putting in the work.
Oh, yeah.
But the reality is, like, somebody's winning. Someone is always finding a way, and you just have to adapt.
Yeah.
But you found that, that's like in so many ways, that leads to a lot of attention on the business and a lot of different opportunities.
Yeah, I will say that, like, it's not like we're getting... At least with my audience at Jrowfilms, we're not getting tons of like client work like coming through that every single day. It's mainly like filmmakers is my audience on there.
Gotcha.
So it's mainly to inspire, but it also gives a platform of credibility for clients to like look at what we're doing and putting out and behind the scenes of what we're doing.
Right.
Because if you're putting out behind the scenes of you on set, like filming a project, that's not really going to appeal to like the clients we're trying to target as much, because it's not the final product.
Right, exactly.
It gives credibility to see like, oh, this is your crew, like this is the gear they're using, like this is really cool, but it doesn't it's not the bait that's gonna like hook them,
right, exactly. So That's so good. I think a lot of people they struggle in this, and like I said, I think a lot of creatives, they, at least when I've seen, they tend to put themselves in a box of what they can do, and so they end up just feeling like, well, I don't have anything to share, or they're limited in it, and they don't get creative around it of like, no, there's a lot of stuff you can do, and because I think we always have this, and I struggle with this all the time with even clients I have, as far as like, I make one video that's supposed to solve all my problems, right? Of like, one input leads to that output, where it's like, you don't know what's going to make someone want to do business with you or want to do. You just have to like, just put a lot of stuff out, and just the consistency of itself is what's going to lead to it, rather than like this one thing is going to be like, I can't tell you how many times people have like put all their hopes and dreams into one piece of content, or one piece of content, and it's like, no, this is like, this one piece, it is important, but followed up by the hundreds that you do. Like, it's what you do consistently.
Yeah, consistently over time.
Yeah.
But like, I will say, on the other side of that is you put out a piece of content and you want to put out a lot, but there's also a level of like reflection on the content that you're putting out to see. And that's what helped me grow from the very beginning, like, of having like, I think I had a couple thousand followers on Jrowfilms, and now it's at like 87, 88 or something.
Jeez.
So it's like, what I did is I looked at what videos were performing really well. And I'm like, oh, my first video that hit like 10,000 views, I was like, whoa, something was different about this video. What did I do on this video?
Yeah.
And so I reflected on that piece of content, and then I started trying to do more content like that within the level of like being creative, because you never want it to feel like just monotonous. Like, you want to like what you're putting out in the world. But on social media, let's like face it, it's a game of like trying to gain some sort of traction.
100%.
Like,
otherwise, why would you do it? You're
not putting stuff out there just to have 0 views.
Right. It's like, that's for Facebook, like for your grandma and aunt to see.
Yeah, exactly. So reflecting on the content and then trying to do more of that content. That's what I did.
But that's a practical thing. We had a guy become a good friend, Jacob, on here. Had a similar growth pattern. Went from like 600 followers to like 46,000 in like 2 years or something like that. Nice. And a lot of what he did was he posted like 3 things he liked, and he just saw what people liked better, and he just kept making more of that. And like, sometimes I think we like, I don't know, just overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I love that, like, you post, you test, you reflect. That's A/B testing, right? That's marketing. It's like, you test it, you see what's working, and you just, all right, I'm going to iterate it and just focus more on that. Like, what made that great? I think that's a great tool.
What's funny about all of that is you have to have a certain amount of posts that you've already tried. Like, you have to throw your dart at so many different dartboards, like, or throw so many darts to figure out what's the bullseye. Like,
define an average. Like, you can't find an average with one post.
Yeah, no.
But a lot of people do that. Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you. I just had a meeting with somebody. I won't say the person's name. But they're thinking about doing a podcast, and they're like, well, how soon will I know if it's working? Like, after the first one. And I'm like, you'll know maybe after like the first 20 or 30.
Do like a season.
Yeah, do a season. It's like how can you can't expect more of something, of just like one thing. Again, it's going to solve all. I think. And I don't know what it is about marketing that it's been mind-boggling to me over the years that we think it's like magic. Like, it's supposed to happen exactly how we think it's supposed to be. It's supposed to happen faster. You know, the growth's supposed to be quicker, and you're just supposed to go viral just because you spend a lot of money or a lot of time on something. But it's like, no, that's not how it works. Like people don't owe you that. Like, you have to put a lot out there. I think that's brilliant. And I think that's a brilliant handle for anybody listening. Whatever business you're in, specifically with your marketing, do not think of it as just you do one thing, it's going to fix everything. No.
It's a lot of work, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah, 100%. It's probably a lot of late nights after you're doing your actual work itself.
Well, now I have to organize my schedule to where I focus on that at the beginning of the day. Because, like, I'm like a hard cut most days now at like 5, maybe 5:30 at the latest, because wife and kid at home.
Right. Yeah. 4-month-old, they deserve your attention. No, so you have to be more disciplined. I want to go in a little bit different direction than we've been going, and I'm curious how this is your thought process, because you're and your wife. It was cool. We got to get together, and we actually did a shoot for my church, and we were just talking about just the Lord and kind of our backgrounds in church. Obviously, I learned video in church doing church announcements. Like literally, That's how they needed someone to do it. They're like, we need it this week, and so I was like, all right. So I YouTubed how to do it. Got Premiere Pro the 30-day trial. Yeah. I don't know if they even do those anymore, but I did a 30-day trial, and it took me like 4 days to make like a minute video.
Easy.
Yeah, exactly. And it was terrible, but they were like, we don't have anybody else, so like just keep doing it. But I know a lot of times there can be a lot of tension if you have talent, specifically in a creative field. It doesn't have to be just that, but like where it's like, how much do you use for the church and how much do you use for business? And I've struggled with that tension a lot. I know a lot of people have, as far as even sometimes feeling guilty of that. I'm curious if that's ever been a tension for you in your journey of video, where it feels like, oh man, am I giving more to my business? Should I be doing more of this for the church? Or, I don't know. I'm just curious what that has been for you.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's been like a lot of tension, because I'm a part of a small church called Divine Peace, and we have like 2 campuses. Both of them are like really small, like maybe 100, 150 members per campus. Yeah. So it's a very tight-knit group, right? And if anything, I feel like I wish I wasn't so busy so that I could, and that's always an excuse with anything. Like you make time for what's important, but to be able to make more video content, like I know that the church needs to like market. So part of me does feel guilty about that, but there's a certain level that I do give, like services, and like we made like a Kingdom Kids Christmas story video. Yeah, I don't know if I sent that to you, but I make really cool videos like for church. And when COVID hit, we made like Sunday school devotionals, like with Jamie running them. And so I'm able to give in that department. But as soon as like they're talking about like trying to put out a lot of video content on a consistent basis, that's when it's like, hey, I'm willing to like give and like also give like a discount and all that. But at some point, like the church needs money to thrive, and so do we. Like if you want to build a bigger church or a sanctuary or anything like that, like you're gonna have to like pay for that. It's not just gonna be given to you.
For sure.
So, and it did end up getting like worked in the church budget for like the next year for like doing a certain amount of videos. So it's never, at least at my church, there's never been like a tension.
That's good.
It's almost just been like man, I wish I had a little bit more time, because I could really like put out some good content that needs to be put out.
And I guess, different people have different church experience, and some are healthy, some are not, right? Of like, some people can feel a bit used, but I think part of it is all in how you look at it, right? Like it seems like you look at it from a standpoint of like, you're looking for opportunities to serve. There's obviously certain boundaries and limits that you have to just naturally have in your time, but like you're looking to serve, which I think is really powerful, because I mean, at the end of the day, obviously our gifts that we're given is for the Lord. But that doesn't necessarily mean we have to. I think sometimes we can feel guilted of like, all right, we have to like pour everything, you know what I mean? And I think there's wisdom. I think there's wisdom in it. I think there's a balance to it as well. Yeah.
And it's like, if you don't feel that guilt a little bit, like you got to like question like your motives as well, I think. The fact that like, if you are not wanting to serve like in your church and use your gifts to God's glory, then you should like reflect on yourself a little bit and like almost like recognize your sin,
Wow.
repent of it, and then, Jesus is there with forgiveness every time.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that's what I think. Like, you have to have like the law and the gospel.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Have that good middle ground.
Yeah. No, 100%. I think, it's like you said, I think it could go both ways, and so much of it is just such a situational thing. But ultimately, like you said, it's for him, and you're bringing him glory through your business.
Oh, yeah.
Regardless. But yeah, even within the church, like you said, like that conviction of the Holy Spirit. If you don't even feel like any type of inclination to give anything, there's a problem. Yeah,
using your gifts, like in the church,
right?
Yeah, which I do in other ways too. Like, I'm also a drummer, which I know you're a drummer, so I drum.
Right. Come on now,
percussion. We do the cahoon too.
Yeah,
it's so fun.
It's hard on your hands, but it is fun.
It's hard on your back too. You're like bent over the whole time.
That's why I love those days. I don't miss them because it is a lot of pain. It is a lot of pain.
Gotta wear a brace.
Literally, Advil ready to go. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But no, for me, it's always been, I would encourage anybody, and it's not even just a creative. You just might be a busy business owner and you're like, I can't really, because I think sometimes our cop out is like, well, I'll just give more or I'll financially.
Yeah.
Which, that's great. Church needs your money.
Yeah.
But what it does for your soul to serve.
Yeah.
You cannot.
You can't just sign a check and
exactly,
because that's that's replacing one, like, being a servant-hearted Christian.
Well, it's replacing the benefit, the blessing to you.
Yeah,
like
too.
What service does to you, that's why I always tell people, you don't have to be a full-time missionary, but at least go on one mission trip in your life. And preferably, if you can do out of the country, do it. What it will do in your perspective and the joy of serving is beyond anything you could ever imagine. Like, I always leave man, I feel bad because I feel like I got more than what I gave, but I was there to give, but I got filled. But that's the whole point. That's how God set this up. And I think that's such a good handle, especially for those who are business owners who are believers. Obviously, be diligent to your craft, grow what you're doing, but don't stop serving. It might be in different capacities. It might not even be in the same thing. At my church, I love playing drums because it's a different part of my brain. It's a different part of what I do, and so it's fun.
Yep.
It's a joy, and find some place to have your fit. I think it's so good. It's so needed.
Absolutely.
As we're kind of, I feel like a preacher. As we're landing the plane here, I would love, again, you have a 4-month-old baby, married now for 7 years, or no.
Oh, you're getting me. 2017.
Yeah. So 7. Is that math?
Yeah, this year
okay,
will be, this April 28th will be 7 years.
Come on.
Crazy.
Come on. Prophetic. That's biblical right there.
Yeah. Don't get the 7-year itch, though.
What's the 7-year itch?
You haven't heard of that?
No.
It's a thing. I don't know who coined the term, but it's like the 7-year itch that, like, in all marriages, like, once you hit that 7-year mark, that, like, the husbands or the wives, they get, like, this itch to, like, I don't want to be with this person anymore.
Oh,
like,
wow.
it's a bad itch.
Oh, I was like, I didn't know if it was like,
itch.
we're gonna go on like a really long vacation. It's like, oh no, gotcha.
It's a bad itch. But somebody like coined that term.
Oh man.
And so I had never heard of it, but somebody told it to me, and I was like, yeah, that's not gonna happen with Jamie and I.
Yeah.
So
we rebuked that. No, we're good. We're good on that.
Yeah. It was
But married, family, that's a huge part of your life. I feel, again, I can get a pretty good pulse on people, and in the time we've worked together, it is very clear your value of family, your value of relationships, and really it's not. I don't like the word balance. I've never liked that because nothing's really ever a balance. But how have you made it? I should say a priority in the middle of building, a very thriving and a needing business that needs your attention, that has staff and all those different things. And yours is a little bit unique as well, because your wife is a part of the team. Like, she actually, works, with you guys. How do you make it a priority in the middle of that?
For family versus business?
Yeah, family and business, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely having to make it more of a priority now, having a 4-month-old. I mean, I think it came down to actually having a good team, especially when Jamie was having our baby, November 9th. What ended up happening was like that was it. We weren't expecting to have him, like, it was like almost a week early, a little less than a week early. But we knew it was like coming up, but then it was like, hey, y'all, like, this is happening right now. And like, I had a shoot scheduled for that night.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. To get some footage for a little documentary we were doing for a client. And I'm like calling up, like, crew that we work with. I'm like, can somebody cover this? Like, and they have to have like the Raptor, like, we want to be able to shoot it like how I would be on set filming it. So luckily over the years we've built like such a good network of good team members, and then we have Chandler and Michael full-time on staff, and like they were able to like pick up, and like business continued on.
Wow.
Whereas like if it was Justin having a baby with his wife and it was just me, like nothing would get done for at least like probably 2 weeks.
Right, exactly.
Because those first 2 weeks are like you're day walking, night walking, you're just trying to function. It's brutal. Building a good team. And then, I mean, outside of that, I think it comes down to like blocking out time for what's important. Like, my wife and I are big advocates of like making a to-do list and actually writing it down. And if it doesn't go on the to-do list, it's not getting done. So to be able to like check that box, but then you can also prioritize that to-do list of like time blocking your day.
Wow.
Because I know that like, all right, I need to start work at 7 a.m. today because I know I'm going to be out for like an hour doing this, like in the middle of the day.
Right.
And like, luckily my wife completely understands like business, and as long as I'm making time also for family, then she completely understands that like I have to be working full time and running the business.
Right.
So yeah, time blocking is absolutely huge. Yeah. Because if it's not time blocked, it's not a priority.
It's not. You can say all day, family matters to me, but it's like, all right, show me in your calendar that it is. Yeah.
Where's the block?
Yeah. I think that's important. I think, again, for anyone that's listening or watching this, that, maybe you have a family or you want to have a family, I'm in that category. It's like, it's not, when I'm hearing from you saying, it's like, it's not necessarily going to get easier. You just have to make the decisions of what matters. Because like you said, it's not going to stop. Work's not going to stop, but like how you choose to prioritize your day, like that's up to you. And I love that. And I think even to your point, what we kind of touched on it earlier, of like even how you build your business, of like it was very strategic, of like, I'm going to build with a team in mind, with a network in mind, so it's not just all on me, so I can take those moments with to be there for your your child's birth and all this. And
what's crazy is I didn't even like think about that. Like, that was so like having our child was so far down the line that I wasn't even thinking about that. But it turned out to be such the biggest blessing that we did have a team to be able to like continue on. And I mean, obviously now I'm back to working full time, but they came in super clutch during that moment.
I love
very
that.
thankful.
I love that. Last question for you, man. And again, thank you for your time, man. And I know it's valuable, and we want to get you home to your family. But what would be, again, there's a lot of people who listen to this. Not everybody's in the creative field, but for those who are, what would be your biggest wisdom for those who want to go off on their own, but they want to honor God through it. They want to serve God through it. And I know this is a very broad question, but as far as just from what you've experienced through this process and allowing, literally it being not your will, His will through this, what would be your biggest wisdom for people who are wanting to go off on their own in the creative space? They want to honor God through it. Like what's like, what's your wisdom in that?
I mean, how you are as a person and how you interact with clients, potential clients, your employees, your team, your supervisors, whatever your role is, in life, how you act and how you treat others is a reflection of, make sure it's a reflection of Christ's love.
Yeah.
I think it was the Apostle Paul said that they will know you are my disciples on how you love, right? So treating your clients well. And I think that's also what's helped lead to our growth is we do treat our clients with respect and honor, and like we're very thankful for our clients and we want to put out the best product for them.
Yeah.
So like it's like, in the business field, they call it, it's customer service, right?
Yeah.
But in reality, it's also, servant-hearted leadership, servant-hearted interactions with your clients. It's you are there to serve a need for them.
Yes.
So if you are treating your and the clients are going to sense that.
Yeah.
In your first meetings, and how you follow through on what you say you're going to do, they're going to know if you, love them or not.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Or if you're just using them to get quick money.
Right. No, it's funny you're saying. I'm like in my head, like laughing in a good way. One of the early episodes we had, we talked about that, and we talked about like, Amazon calls it customer obsession. Like that's like their coin.
Yeah.
But like in God's kingdom, it's just service, right? It's a servant heart. It's that being lowly, thinking of others before yourself. All these things that God teaches in Scripture, it actually benefits us in our business world. Now, putting into practice is a whole different thing, but it's got to be genuine.
Yeah.
Like all those things you mentioned, that's not like all right, well, tip number 1, tip number 2. All right, let me write this down. Let me try to be, genuine
let me do
today.
This because it's good for business.
Right, exactly. Let me try to be genuine. Let me try to love today and just be really good at it. It's like, no, it's got to be the Lord has to build that within you.
It has to be spirit-led.
Yeah. I love that. Well, that's one of our pillars, which is why, that's why I bring people like you on, because I know there's things you can see on paper of someone's resume or something, but there's something that resonates with someone. Like, no, you embody that. You embody that spirit of someone that has a faith hustle, or someone that, honors the Lord in what you do. And I saw that right away with you and your wife and your team. And so, man, it's an honor. Glad you're able to come on, man. And thank you for giving us all the wisdom, man. We definitely got to have you back.
Yeah, man. Hopefully this helps somebody out there.
Oh, I already know it will. Even any of the Instagram stuff, all this, there's so many different just wisdom and nuggets that we got. So thank you for your time, bro.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of the Faith Hustle Podcast. We hope you got some great value out of it, and that it's going to help you in your journey of learning how to build God's way. If you want to join this tribe, this community that's on that same pursuit, we want to invite you to subscribe to all the audio platforms that you might listen to, and to this YouTube channel. We're going to be putting out a lot more content just like this to help you to build your business God's way. So until next time, we'll see you soon.